And welcome to WRPB Studios. My name is Wayne, and today we're going to talk water. And I think since our bodies are mainly water, and since that's what keeps us alive, I think it's kind of an important topic. With me is Clyde Rombacher. Did I say it right?
Right.
Very hard to say that name.
It's
It's not
very hard.
spelled the way we said it, but I practiced from the green room to here to get it right. And you're with B&C Water,
Yes.
LLC.
Right.
Okay, so I got to ask you this. How long are you doing water and water treatment?
How am I doing water?
How long?
How long?
Yeah.
We've been doing it now about 30 years.
Okay, why? Why did you get into that?
Well, there's several reasons why I got into it, but it just happened to be sort of a fluke. I started out repairing LK water fountains.
Okay,
I became a factory authorized center for them and several others. And we started out doing bottled water. Well, I got so enthused at it that I finally got up to the place that I could do 30 a day or 30 an hour.
wow.
But then one of the manufacturers went bankrupt, which took most of it. So after a heart attack in 2002, I left Ohio and came down here and was come down here to actually be retired.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
No, it didn't happen because LK found out I was down here, Water Logic found out I was down here, and next thing you know, they had me running for them. So I just, okay, we start B&C Water down here.
You know, what's interesting, as an entrepreneur like you, I always say that we're an interesting breed because people don't realize what it's like to be an entrepreneur.
That's right.
Okay, it's not a 9-to-5 job. Okay,
Very definitely not.
you know, we're not making $1 million. If you do our hourly money compared to a 9-to-5er, they probably make more than us hourly. Okay, because we work 40 to 50% more hours than a regular 9-to-5er.
Right.
And we both sitting here with, I had triple bypass. Okay, you had a heart attack?
I had a heart attack in '02.
Okay,
Then about 6 years ago, I underwent a five-way bypass.
okay. So,
About 3 years ago, I went down with a broken hip.
wow. So what people don't understand is that we work more hours and we have more stress because we don't just worry about us and the business. We worry about all the families that work
right.
with us that have to be fed, and they become our family, and we have to make sure they're fed. But let's get into water, okay? So water over the years, I lived in Brooklyn. We drank from the hose.
Yeah,
Water over the years have become polluted, correct?
polluted, right, very definitely. And here I found out in Florida is some of the worst because certain areas you go into, you have heavy metals in the water. A lot of places you've got iron coming out if they're using it out of wells. A lot of places you'll get some real heavy calcium. I've seen as much as what they classify, I quit counting at 75 grains of hardness.
Wow.
I mean, most of the time, most of your city water that I've tested will go around 12, 13 grains of hardness. Some of your well water will go up to about 20. But every once in a while,
What's acceptable? Besides
well,
zero.
as far as the hardness goes, it's what you want to put up with.
Okay.
What most people, they don't like that hardness because it takes more soap to do their dishes, to do their laundry, or whatever they're doing, cleaning, because it has to break that down. Ladies don't like it because it will make their hair a little bit stiff, and they have to use more conditioning for it. So it's more or less what people want.
Does hard water, because you hear this all the time, does hard water, is that the water that has the smell?
No.
Okay.
The water that has a smell is that's generally sulfur,
Okay.
and generally it comes also with iron in the water.
Okay.
So it's just And then you can have iron water without the sulfur, or you could have the sulfur smell sometime. Very seldom do you ever run into the sulfur smell without the iron, though.
What makes the ring around the tub, that brown ring?
Calcium most of the time.
Okay.
Because it interacts with the detergents and the soap and stuff. It does. Well, people don't realize that pure water is the best cleaning agent that there is.
Okay.
And that's what happens in our society today. One of the manufacturers that I work for does distillers. And there was a test run on Guam, which there's no pollution as far as like it was released at the time that they were doing that. And the rainwater was almost 100% pure.
That's interesting because in the States, they frown on us collecting our own water. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things that I hear, if you're living in a city, is that the water comes through a treatment plant and that all the water is sent to the treatment plant, meaning the fresh water, meaning the sewer water.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I was told was one of the things that they have a hard time filtering out is people get their pills, their drugs, or whatever, and they flush them into the water system. And that becomes part of the water system. So I'm probably on birth control then, because people.
We might be. We don't know what we're on.
Right.
I have known of a couple places where they have tested the water, and they have found the drugs in it. People don't realize that whenever they flush them down there, it goes into the water.
Right.
That's why you still have quite a bit of septic systems out there and wells, and that's why that the health department demands that you have a certain distance between those two things, so that way that you don't get a back contamination.
Wow. Okay, let's get into what you do now. Now that we've discussed the problems, which are many, probably many more. So I have a house, whether I have city water or whether I have well water, you come in, you test the water, you check it out.
We test the water according to where it's at. Sometimes I just do a simple test. On some well water, I will take it even to a lab. Oh. If I'm in an area where I've been working in one area where I know that there's arsenic in some of the well water around there. So even though I can do it, I don't like to take that chance. I'd rather take it to a commercial lab and pay the extra to have it checked. Okay,
so you find the water's contaminated. So I come to you, you test my water, you find it has contaminants. Do you come? So now I guess I contract you or hire you to put in a water system.
Yes.
Is every water system a little bit different depending on what needs to be cleaned out of the water?
Yes, if you noticed on my card, I say I'm a problem solver.
Right.
That's because I don't just go out and buy a generic unit.
Okay.
I figure out what you want, what your water demands. Sometimes people say, well, I just want a softener. Well, if you're on city water, then that's fine, because the only thing you're going to do is take the calcium out of the water. Some people say, I don't want that taste of the chlorine or the smell of the chlorine, so I design a system to take that out of the water.
So you said something very interesting, and I was about to bring it up, but now you led me into it. So you come to me, and I say, this is what it smells, it's leaving a ring. You know, like you said, you don't buy a generic system, you design systems for people. So the systems that you put in are custom to what people's needs are.
That's right. In other words, like I say, it's not a one-size-fits-all. You just need to figure out what they want. Of course, if they got iron in there, you want to design an iron system into it. And people say, well, what's the name of your system? There's only about 4 manufacturers of some of these tanks and heads, valves that we use.
Okay.
I use those. I mean, they're name brand. Some of the bigger companies, name bigger name companies, they use their own, but still that same company is building it. The only thing is it builds up to their specification. I can't, there's several systems that I cannot get parts for.
Wow.
But the systems that I put in, and I do it that way mainly, is because that way somebody can come behind me if something happens, and say 5 years, 6 years down the road, a part breaks, and they can't get a hold of me. They don't have to wait, and then I don't have to charge them an arm and a leg for the parts, or they're not going to be charged that. My systems generally, under some of the name brand people, is quite a bit cheaper.
Well, I would think, not that I would think so, but it's funny because quality is not just by a brand name, because you're paying for that brand name, you're paying for the marketing, you know, and all that stuff. That doesn't make the product any better, okay? What we just spoke about is kind of almost like a whole house system.
Yes.
But, all right, so now I live in a condo, and it's bothering me, my sink. Do you do, like, is it like too small?
I have several systems that we have designed to be used at the sink. Well, one of them is not my design, but I use it, and that's what we call reverse osmosis. Now we hook that up under your sink. We'll put a special faucet there, what we call a glass filler, where that you can get water out of it. What it does, water has what they call totally dissolved solids in it, unless it has been treated. Now the way to treat it, to get them totally dissolved solids out, is either through reverse osmosis, which the water goes through some filters. Also it goes through a membrane and then into a storage tank, which at the time I've taken water that's been testing 300-400 parts per million of totally dissolved solids. When I get done, I'll have it down to maybe 5 parts per million.
Wow.
The other way is through steam distillation. Steam distillation makes the purest water.
Is that like boiling water?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I use a all stainless steel distiller, which I can get them from 1 gallon to on up to 50 to 600 gallon.
Wow.
It's a little more expensive, but if the people really wants pure, clean water, that's the way to go for drinking. Now, you don't do that for the whole house. You just do that for your drinking and your cooking.
Okay, so here's my thing. This is a thing that sticks on my mind all the time. So in my house, I have a refrigerator that dispenses water, and it's got a filter. And at a period of time, the little green light turns red to change the filter, or I could do the easy way. I push the button and it resets the filter, and now I got a green light again.
That's right.
That's not making the filter any better.
And no, it's actually it's making it worse, because everything that you filtered out in that time,
right,
it's still in there, and eventually it'll get either clogged up to where water won't come through it.
Wow.
Now a lot of the refrigerators that they're got these filters coming out on, that at a certain time it shuts you off. You can't get water out of it.
You know, I look and I'm saying, all right, where the heck is this filter? Because I guess the filter does my water and my ice.
Yes.
Okay. Now in the new place that I just got, I couldn't find the filter. I'm like, really? The light's red. Can't find the filter. All right, so what do? I push the button, takes the stress away from me. So now I'm not stressing, but I didn't fix the problem. Okay, actually I might be adding to the problem. So that kind of is one thing that got on my mind. The other thing is, people talk about the pH of water, okay? And they say that you should have a balanced pH water. See if my memory strikes me correctly, 7.3 or whatever.
About 7 is, we classify pretty well, the neutral
okay.
part of it.
Does your system do that? Is that what your system is meant to do?
If we check the water, if it's low, we'll add a filter to it to bring it up. On our iron systems that we design, if the pH of the water that we're treating is down say 6 or below, I'll add a tank to bring the pH up so that the iron system will work more efficiently.
Interesting.
And then I just got through having a doctor that I've had for about 10 years doing water in her home. And all of a sudden she's become the fact that she wants alkaline water. Well, we was doing a reverse osmosis, which was giving her, or was right at the 7.
Right.
So what I done, she said, well, I'm going to buy this thing so we can put on there. I said, no, don't do that. And I was able to come up with about a $30 thing that would bring the pH up for the system that she had.
To bring it more alkaline.
To make it more alkaline.
All right, we're going to run out of time, but I wanted to ask you this last thing. What's your opinion to Brita, Pure, all those filters? They have any value?
They're better than nothing.
Okay.
I would put it that way. There's some of them that does a fairly good job, but then do you forget to do it, or do you forget to change the filter?
Okay, and I'm guessing that those filters need to be changed more often than a main
Right.
system. So when you take a period of a year or 2 years or 3 years, you're sometimes spending more money for what you think is a better deal than what's not. Plus, look, I gotta tell you, I'm talking about convenience here. Okay, so for me to take another jug and put it in my refrigerator with like a Brita, it doesn't work because there's no room on that stupid side-by-side refrigerator to put another jug. Just no room. So for me, it's really about the convenience. For you guys, it's really about using a professional, okay? Because there's nothing in this world we can't do, okay? And I always use the example, I could change my own oil. Did it as a kid. The question becomes, do I want to? So it'll take me 2 hours to change my oil. Or I can pay someone $49, they can change my oil. And in those 2 hours, I can do what I want to do.
Right.
Okay? Which is either go out with my family or something else. So, I mean, it's just the way that is. And I can probably make more money in that time. So that's how I look at it. But with that, we're at the top of our time. How do people get in touch with you?
They can call me at on my personal cell phone at 937-974-1399, or they can email me at bcwater37@gmail.com.
You know, guys, we run a busy life. It never ends. I could sit here and our phones will still go off because we're busy. And do we want to take that time to do something that he can do in 3 hours would take us 10? And honestly, the easier the job sounds, the harder the job's going to be. It's just the way it is. Use a professional. Most important thing that I tell everybody is to use a professional. With that, I want to thank you, Clive, for coming on.
Thank you.
Everybody have a great day.